Hi, so this video cast is just going to be me because one of my group members ended up working the last minute, and then another group member hasn't showed up at all. And so I assume he must have dropped class, but we weren't told. And another one, we were emailing 30 minutes before, but then he thought you were just supposed to meet the simulation group, and I said, no, we're supposed to meet as a group, but he hasn't showed up, and I waited 10 minutes. And so I'm just going to start doing the video myself and tell you what I thought, because it's Thursday and I don't really have time to redo this all over again another time. So the first question is say a prayer. I'm not going to say a prayer because I can always do it by myself. But, okay, each group member share one word that you felt described your negotiation experience. So one word, I'm going to pull up my Word document here because I know that was a question that we had that I wrote down, and I thought I had a really good word. And so I'm going to pull that up. Just a second. Oh, so if I were to describe the negotiation in one word, it would be forethought. So that's how I described it, because each of us were trying to do our own way, and we were all thinking about the future. And so really we were all just trying to look out for ourselves. Can you get a great negotiated outcome for yourself and keep a great relationship? I didn't have the best of feelings afterwards of my negotiations, but like it was all good eventually, but you really can't keep that great relationship after it because there's like bickering and it feels like you're all just for yourself. And so you can't keep a great relationship if you feel that the other one's being like dishonest. Because I kind of had that feeling that the other members, especially George, was being almost like shady in his negotiation tactics. Okay, so the founders negotiated an agreement in November, the original agreement. Now Michael realizes he is doing most of the work. Is it fair to ask for a renegotiation? I think it is fair to ask for a renegotiation because if Michael really does feel like he's doing the majority of the work, which he was at that point, but I have other feelings for it as well because you can't just expect everyone else to take their Christmas break, and that's all I really saw that was the like main difference. Does Fook think it's fair to renegotiate? He does. I was Fook in my discussion, and he did think it was fair to renegotiate because he wanted more equity share than what he originally had, and he wanted seed equity, and he wanted a higher pay raise. And so he was cool with renegotiating. When should renegotiation be allowed? Whenever someone feels they're doing more work. That's an excellent point. I don't think it should be allowed when whether they feel like they're doing more work, because that's not how it works. People are going to be doing different types of work throughout the business. And so it should be renegotiated, like, I think after a set time. I think once the initial ones are through, because there's going to be a few that you're going to have to mess up. But I think after a certain point, you need to decide, like every 6 months, you can talk about it. And then if it decides that it needs to be discussed, then that you can set another later date. Was it a good idea to come to an agreement in November? You say yes, tell why. If you say no, what would you recommend coming to an agreement? I thought it was a good idea to change the agreement in November because I just from the other things I said, like coming from Fook, I think it was a good idea. Who stands to benefit the most from keeping the November agreement? Why is that? The one that benefits the most from keeping the November agreement would probably be George, because what I could tell from the article, he had a pretty good share. He had a lot of the seed, and everything was like really split up good. Who stands to benefit the most from renegotiating in February at the time of the case? I would say Fook, because he can get more money, he can get better market. I think he really benefits the most. Who would benefit from waiting until later in the summer? I'm trying to think, because Fook needs the technology. He has all the technology stuff in his mind, and so he has to do that before the summer. And so if he waits until later summer, it probably wouldn't benefit him that most, because he can't really talk about what he's doing currently, just what he did. And he's probably doing more other small stuff. So I think that waiting until later in the summer probably benefits George and Michael, I think that's his name, the most. Discuss how the timing of your equity agreement affects a startup's ability to attract, motivate, and retain founders and early employees. Can you come up with your own rule for when it is best time to negotiate an equity agreement? So if you start at the very beginning, like the first day, that's not going to be good, because you're going to add more people on throughout the time of your business. And so if you just do it right at the beginning, the next person is going to get gypped, kind of like what Fook is. Because he's going to put a lot of his own time and resources into it, but they're having a harder time of letting him have more equity because he wasn't at the very beginning. So I would suggest waiting a few months, maybe like after you, like right before you get investors, I would say, like really decide when the equity is and have a group discussion about it. Look at the results for your class. I don't know what that means. What do you notice? How well does your team score compared to other groups? So it sounds like from here that we were supposed to do this with the other group, but the other group said no. So this was really I'm not gonna say badly laid out, but wasn't made clear how this was supposed to be doing. So I'll keep on doing it because that's how we all assumed it was going to be, and I want to give you some kind of a discussion. So look at the results for your class. I don't really know what that is, so give me a second. I'm going to look for the results. I'm assuming you can find the results in the Harvard business somewhere. I didn't see the results when I first submitted the assignment, and so I'm guessing if I look at it again, it will have the results. So that's what I'm pulling up now, which is taking forever, of course, because internet. Okay, I'm just barely getting in there. Sorry about this taking forever. But I was totally just watch the summary, so you might not even see any of this. You're just going to watch the summary. Launching the simulation. Okay, thank you for your efforts to play the sim. This goes one way for your professor to give you further instructions. Okay, let me check the polls. Okay, it is not showing me anything when it comes to what you're asking me. So I'll just try to answer the questions. For those who play the roles of Michael and George, what do you think Duke wanted most from his negotiations? I wasn't Michael or George. So I'm Fook, so I'm going to tell you what was most important to me. What was most important to me was reaching those 40 points. I just needed to make that minimum 40 points, and I was going to be good to go. I could not see where the top 1 and 2 teams are on the Harvard. I looked, you saw me look. So draft a new agreement that includes changes that would improve the results of attracting, motivating, and retaining the right people. Consider including the following features. Equity is earned as each member achieves milestones. Vesting over time. Can think what vesting means. An option pool or equity set aside to be earned later. Okay, so definitely, I think they could keep Fook at 70,000, and I think it'd be smart to have maybe equity set aside to be earned later, because Fook hasn't really done anything yet to do the product because he hasn't been given guidance by Michael and George what they want. And so that would be, I think, a really good way of compromising on the equity. So that kind of goes along with each member achieves milestones. I think it really has to do with Fook and the negotiations that make him the most happy. And so I would just change it to what Fook's agreement was to change over time equity. And I think that could be the same with George, because in our negotiations, we kept him at just adding 1% more. But if he achieves more milestones, and I think he would be able to get more equity. I think that's fair. I think that's fair for everyone to see how they do in the long run. I think that would make Michael happy because he was thinking that he did so much more. And so if he just waits a little longer, he'll understand that better and be happier with the outcome in the long run. So in summary, I was the only person to show up for my group. There was a miscommunication when it comes to directions, but I'm still giving you a video. And so that's what I'm doing right now, and I apologize. The summary is that when you do negotiations, it's sometimes hard to keep a good relationship with other people. It sometimes ruins it, and it could possibly ruin the whole company because of that. I believe that it is, I think, a good thing to do that's a different agreement is to let equity be earned through different milestones or an equity set aside to be earned later. I think those are really good different agreements that the whole group would come to make them feel better about what is happening. And in the long run, I really think that Michael maybe rushed it too much, like too fast, now that I think about it and ponder it. But that's, I think. And that is the end of my video. So thanks for tagging along.